So I just got done recording a video about, this is the middle of July, I don't know when I'll post this, but I just got done recording a video about, you know, some of the health issues that I had, you know, from going back to eating animal products when I was a vegan for several years, hoping that was going to help any sort of problem that I had. And unfortunately, it did not. So the only other thing that I could possibly think of was my transition. It's like, did I make the right choice here? To me, it was the right choice, because for those of you who may not be aware, because some of you are not necessarily aware, if you follow me, you may not be able to tell. You know, I was born as a male. Ever since a young age, I felt like a female, and I transitioned in like about 2010, 2011 is when I started taking hormones and everything. Then I had this, you know, the downstairs surgery in 2013, and then, you know, that's pretty much it for the most part. So I thought with some of these weird health things that I was having, just this extreme low energy and the breathing problems, just a variety of different things, like I just can't sleep well anymore. I can't really, my mind is just, I have more, not necessarily, wouldn't necessarily call it brain fog. It's just harder to kind of concentrate. I guess that is kind of like brain fog, right? Just harder to concentrate. Feel very fatigued, very tired, increasingly so. Like a year ago at this time, I was way better than I am now. Like each day is a struggle at this point. Each day I feel just like I just can't really do anything. Like if I, some days when I look back at what I did in the day, like what did I do today? Oh, I did a few things today actually, but like it's so hard to actually do any sort of productive work. I just can't really do it anymore. It's like I'm literally physically handicapped at this point because of whatever is going on. Okay, I've tried so many different things, okay, to sleep better, you know, exercising, going outside, walking around, running, you know, getting some sort of exercise in, eating, you know, thought was the right diet, vegan, and then I went to, you know, more omnivore, and that has not, you know, feel worse doing that. So the only other thing that I thought could possibly be it was my transition. You know, me being on hormones, me having surgery done, that now I have to be on hormones for the rest of my life, and there's no way of stopping it to go back to how my hormones were prior with the testosterone, even though I wouldn't want that, to see if that is what's causing me to have these problems. What if I could stop taking the estrogens and my body would produce the testosterone and I felt all better? Is it really worth my quality of life now if I feel so much worse than if I did not transition at all? These are the thoughts that I've had, because if I had known, if this is the reason, my surgery or just the hormones, the transition, everything, if I had known 10 years later that I would feel this bad, I would not have done anything. I would have found some other way. And I'm not saying that I want to go back to being a male, because I can't do that. Physically, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't like the idea of doing that. But even now, there's no way I can do it. What we're going to do is stop taking the estrogens and then take prescription testosterone, which in itself has issues. Perhaps the reason is because I'm taking these synthetic hormones to begin with. Or maybe it's because after the surgery, like I noticed, like after the surgery, that's when I was having all these aches and pains happening. That's when, around the time that I was, see, this is why I kind of confused it with being vegan even. Because around the time that I went vegan and vegetarian, that's around the time that I had my surgery and everything. But maybe it wasn't the diet. Maybe that was a small part of it. But maybe it was my transition. Maybe it was me being on hormones. Maybe it was me having the surgery. And if I had known, I would feel like this many years later, I would never have done that. Would not have. But then what is worse then? You having to deal with being someone that you don't feel as though you are, and you're just constantly mentally depressed and upset, and mentally unwell, and mentally unhealthy, to the point where now I just feel very physically unhealthy, where it just feels like my body's just given up, or it's just like dying. Like it just can't function anymore. I can't. I'm not gonna go. But it's like, what is the better trade-off? I wish I didn't have to do this, but if I could go back to that and feel perfectly fine, that is what I would choose, as opposed to how things are now. So I just want to put out a warning to everyone here. If you're considering any sort of a transition or hormones or surgery or anything, I just beg you to find any way possible not to do it. Whatever you can to not do it, I think you're probably better off. But some people don't have that problem, because then here's something else that I kind of thought about as well. So, I know people who have absolutely no problem whatsoever, who have been on hormones for longer than me, who have had surgery, and they don't have any sort of problem. So it's like, why is it me? Why am I having the problems? And I guess everyone's body is different. So for me, I guess my body didn't like these things. My body didn't like what happened to it. But the other big factor is, I've always said there's many, many different reasons someone can be transgender. Many, many different reasons. And, the most common reason people say is that, you're essentially born in the wrong body. That there's hormones that fluctuate in the womb, or, hormones from the mother, or even just the estrogens in the environment that you're exposed to that manipulate your hormones when you're very young as well. That can alter the way that you develop, so that it's kind of like there's like a female brain in a male's body, so to speak. That's not exactly, what ends up happening, but if you think of it like that. So I thought, for me, this is something that I've thought about for a very, very long time. What if that's not necessarily the case for me? Because for me, I've talked about my past and everything being neglected and unwanted by, my own family members and people that I thought I could trust, and them abandoning me and leaving me, and that causing a bunch of issues mentally. And then, it's like when you have a mother that didn't want you at the time, who hated you, who didn't want anything to do with you, who just essentially wished that you weren't born, or could have just said, I wish you were never alive, or I wish I had aborted you, or whatever. And then, that same person always wanting a daughter. They didn't want a son, they wanted a daughter. And then, you know, my sister's born, and then naturally I'm very jealous of that, and I wanted to take her place. So it right there, from a psychological standpoint, when you're thinking about that, does that not make perfect sense that I would want to be then a female so that my mom would end up being happy and accepting of me, because that's what she always wanted. So maybe that's where this idea started to form. And then just in high school, you know, all the constant bullying and people making fun of me and everything, I always thought if I was a female, I would not have these problems. And again, it's another form of escapism. Because I'm saying, if I was a female, I wouldn't have these problems. People wouldn't be making fun of me, this and that, what these particular people wouldn't. So again, it's escapism. It's not necessarily that I want to be because it would make me happier. It would just allow me to escape from that male person that I was. So maybe for me, maybe the reason why I have these problems is because maybe I was never that way. Maybe all this time it was a mental related issue that should have been addressed, but it never was. And instead, I did all these things and I permanently altered my body, and my body, because I've been in the state of denial, I've developed all these health issues as a result. Because when you know what suppression does, you know, it's like one of those things. It's like you shake up a soda can. You keep putting stuff in there, you keep shaking it up, and eventually it's going to explode. It's going to open up in some sort of way. That's kind of what it ended up feeling like right now. Because it's like I just kept denying and denying and denying and suppressing, so then physical symptoms start to manifest. My body's like, look what you have done here. You keep denying, you keep suppressing all these issues that you have, so we have to come out in some sort of way. So it's going to manifest in a physical ailments, physical issues, physical problems. And maybe that's the reason why, that no matter what I do, that I think will end up helping me, that it never does. That I am feeling like when I change my diet, or when I take a supplement or whatever, I feel better initially, and then I stop feeling better, you know, and then I end up feeling worse. Because maybe the core issue is that the things that I did to my body that are irreversible, that I cannot go back to, that is impossible to go back to, caused me to be in such a state of suppression and denial that it caused these issues to come up to the point where it is now literally impossible to go back to how things were before that. So, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but the idea that, you know, I just have to live with how things are now, even though, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do, because I just feel so bad and nothing works for me. Am I going to go back to taking testosterone so I can just physically feel better? Then what's that going to do for my mental health then? Because I don't want to present that way. I don't want to be perceived that way. Or maybe there's something much deeper that needs to be addressed, whatever. I don't know. All I know is that I'm just fed up with all of that. I'm just so sick and tired of it. It's just all this confusion, and I don't know where to turn to from here, where I can physically and mentally feel the best. Because at this point, I don't feel either now, because I physically am not able to feel good. So, I'm not able to do the things that I love to do, because I either am too tired to focus on it, I don't have enough energy to focus on it, or I just have like this brain fog and I can't focus on it. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, and I think I'm out of words. I'm out of words for now, so I'm going to end it here. I'm going to end it here after all of that. So you all take care, have a great one, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye.